What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Rabid here, and I am pretty excited for this one as I'm going to be delving into the world of Vast AI and AI compute and stuff like that. Now, I don't have any of the greatest GPUs out there. I don't have any 5090s. I don't have any, HX 170s. I'm going to have to be utilizing 3090 that I'm going to pull out of the case on the bottom right there. And I have a 2 terabyte drive hanging out in my hand right here, which may or may not focus for you guys. So here you can kind of see it here. And then I also got like a whole bunch if I need more drives, and depending how this works out, and a bunch of mini PCs. I got some 1 terabyte drives and stuff. So I'm going to, if I need those, I will go to them. But right now, I do have the dual epic down there. I also have the single epic 7742 right there. But I think just to start this off and see how it goes, because I am testing a bunch of things, I'm just going to go with the 7950X right here. I'm going to unhook the power supply from the other board. That way everything is on a single board and one power supply and is powering all the same stuff. Now, if you're running multiple GPUs on a rig, always remember, basic crypto mining 101. Keep the same power supply to the riser and to the GPU. A lot of people seem to be forgetting that lately, where if you are using like the times 16 risers where they're full speed, they're powering the risers with a different power supply. So a lot of people forgot, because GPU mining has sucked recently, how to basically set up a rig. So remember, always use the same power supply on the PCI Express as well as the riser for a GPU. In my case, I don't have to worry about that because I am rocking just a single rig, single card. I'm going to be trying it out. I don't know if my internet will even work. I only have a maximum of like 35 upload speed, and Vast requires 50 plus to get verified. But you can still get rented when you're not verified. I'm also going to be trying out my auto installer. I know it works. I've tested a lot, but that's what I'm going to be using to install on here because it makes life nice and easy. Links will be in the description if you want to utilize that. I'm also working on a new program that's actually going to give me all the information I need when it comes to Vast or any of the AI rigs. And it's going to auto, pretty much fix issues and deal with all sorts of stuff and keep tabs on everything for me with auto reboots and stuff in case I'm sleeping or something. Because as we know, if you do get verified, you don't want any downtime. So I also have an auto Vast AI fixer that I'm working on too. And obviously I need a Vast rig to fully test it. And also a hub, which is almost like Hive OS, which will link all your rigs together. I got a whole bunch of stuff in the works right now, but first I got to get a Vast rig online. All right, so I kind of cleared some stuff out here. We can see I unhooked this splitter for the 24 pins here, pulled it out of here and went directly into the power supply. So this one will no longer get any power, and I unhooked the power CPU power as well. So it's kind of sad that this is unhooked completely here. I guess I could take both sticks of RAM and slam it into here as well. That should give me 64 gigabytes, I believe. Yeah, so each one has 32 16 gigabyte sticks. So I could do that for this rig. That would probably definitely help things out here in terms of rental. I don't know. My biggest downfall again is my internet speeds. It sucks. But here we have this thing isolated to be everything by itself, ran off this power supply. I got a whole bunch of other power supplies too. I could run every rig by itself off power supplies, but it does save power. It's more efficient. You're using more of the peak zone in these things. So anyway, this is what we're going to be doing here for this is the one power supply, so everything gets the max amount of voltage that it needs. Now I got to pull out the old hard drive here, put in the 2 terabyte one. I got to open up and get that 3090 out of here. So let's just kind of pull this out. There we go. Here we go. So the 3090 is right there. Here's the 3080. But I'm going to be using the one that I have with the most amount of memory, and that would be my 3090. I do have a 4090 in my workstation, but that's in my workstation. Maybe if it's worth it, I'll pull it out and maybe put the 3090 in there for my gaming and videos, but we'll see what happens in the future. But right now I got to get this 3090 out of this Octaminer. All right, so I did pull out the 256 gigabyte SSD here, or I guess NVMe, and I slapped in the 2 terabyte right there. I also did take those RAM sticks out of the rig here and put them in here as well, giving myself 64 gigabytes of 6000 megahertz DDR5 RAM on, I'm not even sure if this is a 7950X or a 7950X 3D. I guess I'll find out when I get it all going. So now I'm going to put it back together, get the GPU on, and install Vast. So it was a little on the dusty side, but I took it to the good old air compressor, which is right there, which did run on free power, thanks to the Blue Yeti right here that is running off these two 450 watt solar panels, which is also powering some solo Bitcoin miners, which we can see right in here. So that's pretty awesome here. A lot of free power stuff, solar power, getting things running. Got to turn on more, but it's a work in progress. All right, so now all you're going to need here is a monitor, a keyboard, obviously your rig put together here, and then your installer. And that is this right here. I'm using an SSD because for testing and everything, for flashing, it is way faster and more stable than using a USB stick. I've been using these for years now. I haven't touched a USB stick when it comes to flashing or HiveOS or anything forever, since Ethereum, no, even before that. So it's always been on SSDs here. So I got this flash to the Rabid installer, and this will allow you to choose from Vast.ai, Clore.ai, Nosana, and there's some other platform. OctaSpace is on there as well. And it'll also do like, rig test to see which one is more profitable. I already know what I'm going to put in. It's going to be Vast, and it's going to be a nice auto installer, but I'll show you how to run through the process here. All right, so you're going to want to get into your BIOS here by slamming that delete key, and then I'm simply going to go over to boot, and here you can see I have Ubuntu. Depending what you have, it's going to be different here, but I'm going to remove Ubuntu and put in the UEFI OS, because that is what this will look like once you do flash that installer here. So that's all I pretty much need right now. Now I'm simply going to hit F10 to save these and hit enter and wait for the boot menu to come up. All right, so the boot menu is there. You can see Rabid's all-in-one AI installer, and there is two versions here. They're two separate ISOs depending what operating system and hardware you have. One is 22.04, the other one is the latest 24.04, which you will need on all your latest Realtek stuff and all the latest and greatest hardware that just released. But everything else, 22.04 is fine. But if you want to remain and have the longest support, 24.04 is the one for you. I'm not sure which one this one is, but it will run no matter what. I'm just going to hit enter here, and that's all I got to do. All right, so I do see AI host is live in my router now, so it is installed and ready to roll. So I'm just going to simply come into here and SSH into my rig. I no longer need to be in my garage or doing anything with the keyboard or that monitor. You can pull it out if you want. You can hit yes. Now I'm going to put in our password. So default password is AI. Change it later. Now we can see we have the installer. So I'm just going to hit number 2, install Vast. I'm going to hit 2, like we can see. Actually, I'm not ready to begin yet. I'm going to go no here, return to the menu, and I'm actually going to run our profit calculator. So this is new on this as the latest version. So compare earnings for my GPU. I'm actually going to hit 7, and it should detect it. It looks like it found the RTX 3090, and then it ran through a bunch of stuff, and it's telling us what the profitability on that GPU currently is on these different platforms. We can see Nosana is actually at 377, OctaSpace is 326, Vast is only at 244. It could be due to the fact that the host, remember, it is kind of letting you know about how much the hosts are keeping as well. So Vast does have a 25% fee. You only keep 75%, but I am going to go with Vast because it is one of the most popular, even though I am seeing more popular platforms out there that have more profit. Anyway, you can install any of these with this installer, obviously, here. So I'm going to go back to the main menu. You can see I have all the options here for those. So I'm going to install Vast, hit number 2 here, hit the enter button. Yes, I am ready to begin. And now you can see sudo password. So you're going to put in your password for the rig. And now it's going to do a check to see how good your internet connection and everything is. Now mine sucks, but I'm still going to hopefully get away with this and hopefully get some renting. But I also want to test my other tool that keeps track of every statistic on your rig, as well as reboots and things like that if it needs to do so when you're not around. So That's another reason why I'm doing this, but I'm also hopefully going to get into the AI game with my slow internet and see what happens. But it looks like it's taking a while. There we go. So we can see I do have an upload of only 22 right now. Usually I'm around 34, but it's saying it's below the 500 for busy hosting, which is the recommended, but you can get away with 50. But it gives you all the stats here on your network. Do I want to continue? Yes, I want to continue. And now it's going to keep on updating and installing everything we need. Now, while it does do the whole install process and everything, I am actually going to go to Vast and get my key ready. So I'm just going to come into here, go to Vast AI, open it up, log in if I need to. So yeah, I'm going to get started. No, I don't want that. Let's say hosting, start hosting. Hopefully it'll auto log in. Yes, it's got my account here. And I'm just going to come down into install manager because we're going to need this key right here later on. So I'm going to wait for this to happen, hit the refresh, grab that key. But for now, we're just going to let this install and do its thing. Right now, it is doing the driver. All right, so we can see here it is rebooting for that NVIDIA kernel driver, and then it's asking you to do all this stuff here. Get your Vast AI install key ready. So here's a link if you need to get to there, make your an account and everything. Here is your ports to forward. Remember, you need 100 ports per GPU on your router and stuff to forward here, or you can just keep it with the default, which I do have right here. So now we're just going to SSH back in once it's ready to go. I already have my key in the background ready to go, so we're going to go AI. There we go. It is continuing our vast setup. So we're going to go AI again. And now you can see it just continues off where it left off and just keep following the prompts when they come up. All right. So now it's going to ask us for our rig name. So you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to go, in this case, Rabid AI 3090, just for that Rabid AI 3090. Or I could just go Rabid. I'm going to go Rabid 3090. Now, this is where you pick your ports. I'm just going with the default ports. So I'm going to go that one and that one. And then here it's saying time to get your Vast install command. So paste here and press enter. So this is when I come into the website. I'm just going to hit the refresh button again. So it's nice and safe, nice and fresh on my account. And then why am I scrolling down? You just have to go to install manager here. And I'm just going to click this right here in the middle, the advanced users one. I don't think it doesn't matter which one you use. You can use anyone. Click that in there. It'll automatically read the key that it needs and then hit enter and it'll continue on with everything it needs. It also should ask you to change your password sometime soon because remember the default password is AI. You don't want to keep any of the default stuff. You want to change your rig name and change your password. There is a warning here. Obviously, it is going to take 10 to 20 minutes or sooner, but it's saying now forward your ports on your router, which you already read up there. But, I can't forward ports on my router. So hopefully we'll see how this plays out. So now it's asking me to change my password. I'm going to hit yes and put in a password that I want. All right, so I put in my password. Now it is saying all the final steps here. So your GPU should now appear in your Vast dashboard, blah, 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 blah. Final reboot, sudo reboot. So you can just simply copy this if you want or type it in, paste that in there. And now we're going to reboot it and it's closing the host and we should see our rig in our Vast dashboard. So right from this point here, if we go to our left, you can see hosting. We click on machines and which should be here. So B650M DS3H. Yes, that is the motherboard I'm on. It's going to take a couple minutes for everything to showcase here, but we can see Rabid 3090. Everything is here that I named. Your GPU and stuff will pop up in a few minutes. So I'm just going to wait for that to happen. And we're pretty much done with the installation for Vast AI. Super simple. All right, so it has been a few days since I installed it, and you can see here I am rented out. I did have to actually go back to my old internet, which sucks even worse. You can see I only have 45.9 down and only 9.6 up. So that sucks here, but I am back on my older internet because I couldn't forward any ports on my other one. I needed a port forward and stuff for this, so I did move back. So make sure your internet can support port forwarding. So for the most part here, we are up and running. So now I can actually go through my watcher and do the tests that I want to do. So here is my watcher right here. I can see this will, determine everything. Once it's fully working and stuff, I will release this to you guys. But right now I'm still in testing mode. But right now it'll just track if you have rigs on Vast, Clore, anything in that installer. It'll tell you your rigs here and it'll bring up everything for Vast, for Clore, so you can keep everything in one track when it does come to your AI here. So if I click on this, we can actually see what is going on. So you click on that, it will bring this up right here. So we can see my GPU temp is getting warm in the garage. We do have a client here. And what is he doing? This is actually telling you what he's doing as well. So you can see inside of your container of what they're doing. And here we can see he's obviously mining some crypto using HTK miner NGV1. So I'm not sure if this is a Pearl thing or what, but we can see the miner they're using and other things and what's going on. So we can kind of spy on people to see what the next best thing might be for a coin. And here we can see everything that's going on, past marketplace issues and stuff. Our GPU powers and our GPU utilization and our temperatures, CPU loads down here. It gives us all our board temperatures and all sorts of other stuff. And then we got our usage here, which is telling us how long it's been rented for and so on. So a bunch of information available, and then you can clear your log to clear this for an update or something if your thing leaves, so you can watch the next one. I'm still early on the testing, so test alert. I'm setting it up so you can get email alerts when you're rented, when you lose your rental, if it needs to reboot by itself or need reboot. So it's going to be reading errors and stuff. And then it'll be able to utilize to tell you, okay, we're going to do this fix, and it'll automatically do Vast fixes like reboots and stuff all by itself in case you're away or you're sleeping, things like that. So a lot of work I got to do. But first, we're in the early testing phase. Right now, it's just pretty much an observation platform, but it's definitely helpful for seeing what people are renting your rigs for and all the data and stuff right now. So this is currently where I'm sitting on my watcher point for my AI rigs. All right, guys, so we're just about to wrap this one up, but let's take a quick look at some AI probability before we do. And coming down to here, you can see I got a whole bunch of things here. Let's look at AI earnings, and that'll bring us up into here. I'm just going to move it to 12-cent power. And we can see that look at the B200s. They're making on Vast AI $117 a day. That is insane. The H100s are at $46 a day. We got the 4080 Super at $864. 3090 Ti is at $756. Like, things are crazy when it comes to AI. It looks like Akash actually on the NVIDIA H100 making a little bit more than Vast here. You can look on the side for the best platform here. So it's not always Vast AI. Depending on your hardware, there are other platforms that are making more. So keep that in mind as well. But it is insane that a B200, even though they're expensive, that's like what, a $40, $50 or $50,000 GPU, but they're making $120 a day almost. So pretty crazy on the amount that some of these things are making. So let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions on everything that's going on. And if you guys want this watcher for yourself, maybe I'll release it for a quick $5 or something. It's really early with free upgrades or something, but I do want to get more tweaks and stuff into this later on. But it does give a lot of information about your rigs, temperatures, what's going on, and seeing what people are doing with your rig, which is also kind of like a spyglass to see, did a new coin launch? Should I get onto something? So that's another good reason to keep an eye on the markets to see what's emerging, because a lot of these people start renting for new coins that no one knows about yet, and it's all being tracked right here. So anyway, guys, thank you for checking out this video. I will see you guys on the next one. If you want my AI installer or anything, be sure to head over to my website here and just click on AI Compute, AI Host Installer, and that will get you here. Also, we got the profit dashboard for GPU mining, ASIC mining. Here's the GPU side of things, the AI hosting thing. We got our ASIC profits here. Everything is here ready for you all in one spot. So thank you for checking out this video, guys. Hit the subscribe button, share this video around. I will see you on the next one. Are you rocking the AI compute, or is hardware prices just too expensive? Rabid out.